Hi guys, I'm Natalie, and today I'm very excited to be reviewing the iPhone 7 Plus. I got it in rose gold. I went with 256 gigabytes as far as storage. I like to have the max amount of storage, and I've just had it for a day, and so I've had a little bit of time to play around with it and transfer all my stuff over and kind of personalize it, and I've really liked it so far. So let's look into it. So one of the big new pushes for these new iPhones is the change in the home button. The home button is no longer a button, it's actually just a sensor, Touch ID basically, and you can change the force of your vibrations or haptics, however you want to call that, and you just go to Settings, General, Home Button, and you choose, they call it choosing your click, and you just pick whatever number and then push on your home button, and it gives you that sensation of the vibration, and you can choose more powerful or less powerful vibrations. It took me a while to feel the difference between each one, I guess because maybe I didn't quite understand what I was doing at first, but when I went back and tried them all, I think I ended up landing on, I think I was on number 2, but they vary just a little bit. So that's something new, and it's rather strange to get used to when you don't feel it going in. It's just, it gives you that little vibration sensation, but you don't have the pushing down all the way. So that is new, and it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to. Something that I really like about my new iPhone is how quickly it reads my Touch ID. However, if your finger is wet, like if you've just washed your hands, come out of the shower, put on some lotion, if your hands are clammy, it's gonna have some trouble reading. And I've noticed that's been a problem for like when I get right out of the shower and I wanna check something, or if I've just put lotion on, I do have to, instead of just holding it down, I get that screen. It worked that time, but often I have to actually punch in my passcode. So, not a big deal. It's definitely more sensitive than my iPhone 6 was, and I'm very happy with it so far. Included in the box with this iPhone 7 Plus is a brand new set of earbuds, and they have the lightning connection, so of course, as you can see, there is no headphone jack. They just plug right in to the lightning connector. They give you an adapter too if you have another set of earphones that you want to use. I use this all day long, and I only charged it just so that it didn't die on me right now, but I definitely did not have to charge this fully. It came to me just about fully charged, and I juiced it up a little bit when I was doing my iCloud backup. I didn't have to, as it turned out. Battery life has been terrific. I've watched Netflix, and I've done pictures and done some editing, and I've been in email, and I've been opening every app to sign back into everything, and the battery life has been terrific. I think I only plugged it in when it was at like 40% and just juiced it up enough to make sure it wasn't going to die on me. Something that I did notice when I went to do my iCloud or sync it from my old iCloud backup is that this thing got hot. And I was a little bit alarmed at first. I mean, it just got really warm, and it was mainly up here. And I kept thinking, oh my goodness, this thing needs to cool off. And I started Googling it and trying to figure out what was going on. And a couple people had mentioned that you needed to, if the availability for a software update was there, to do that, and that fixed the problem for somebody. Until my iCloud backup sync was through, I couldn't do that. But once I did do that, I don't know if it's just that the iCloud backup sync was done, or that I installed the new software, has not been a problem. I watched Netflix for 2 hours on this, and it did not get near as hot as it had before. So not a problem anymore. Was a little bit worried about it first, so if you have the same issue, might just be that it's doing all the work to sync your new phone, or it may just be that you need to upgrade to the newest software. So let's talk about the camera on the iPhone 7 Plus. It boasts a 12 megapixel wide angle and telephoto camera. It does have optical zoom and digital zoom. So I have never been one to use zoom on my camera just because you know that your quality just eats it right then and there. I've used this a bit and it's pretty good. It's definitely an improvement over what it's like to use the zoom before, but on the whole, I would probably still take the picture and then crop it later. It's just gonna depend. It's gonna depend on how far away and how much you're doing, but there's definitely times where that's gonna come in handy and it's still gonna look good. I mean, of course, a lot of that too depends on how well lit your area is that you're trying to take pictures of. I tried to take pictures first thing this morning when I was goofing around with it, and there just was not enough light in the house at the time for that. Now, live photos was not new. That was introduced previously, but the stabilization I think is a bit better, and it's I'm kind of addicted to it now. It was available previously on my iPhone 6, but I don't know why, I just didn't utilize it very much, but now that I've got this much bigger screen, I find that pretty much every photo I'm taking, I'm using live photos and sending it out, and I love it. And it's kind of like sending out a mini video. One of the big new things with the iPhone 7 Plus is also portrait mode. Now, I don't have anything in here to take a portrait of, but I was playing with this earlier, and this is where you take, you know, a person or a pet or an object in the foreground, and it's gonna blur your background for you, making it look more like a professional photo. So I played with this earlier today with my dogs, and I really like the effects of it. You do have to have adequate lighting for this. I mean, you wanna have adequate lighting for any picture that you take, but you definitely have to have this because it'll tell you on the screen if you don't have adequate lighting. It'll also tell you, like it's telling me right now, move farther away, depth effect. So at first I thought maybe it wasn't doing it properly because I took a photo of my dog and then I went back in pictures to look at it, and it looked like this. I could see the pillow and the blanket, you know, pretty clearly in the background. Well, I realized it takes a regular photo and then it takes your depth effect photo. And see, if you tap on it like that, you can see depth effect. And as you can see now, you've got my dog in the forefront, all crisp and clear, and the background, the pillow and the couch and the blanket are blurred out a bit. And it did a real nice job of this. Here's another one or two of my dogs. You can see one dog is blurred in the background there, and here he's a bit clearer. And so this is going to be a really fun thing to play with, I think, to see really how good you can get your photos to look. You could do this, I'm sure, you know, before with Photoshop and photo effects, but it's cool to not have to do any of that. All you've got to do is go into portrait mode, have adequate lighting. It tells you, you know, either get closer or step farther back. And I've enjoyed this so far. I'm excited to see how it's going to look to do it on human beings. Sometimes they sit a little more still than the dogs do, but so far the dogs have made great models. So both the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus boast the A10 Fusion chip with 64-bit architecture and an embedded M10 motion coprocessor. These are also splash water and dust resistant. I have not had the guts to take this into the shower with me, or to stand outside in the rain that we've had today and play with it. I know it can. It's been boasted that it can, and I've seen plenty of videos of people dropping it in the pond or in the lake beside them or in the tub. I just haven't done it. They're not cheap, and I just haven't. Okay, the bottom line is I just haven't. I'm a chicken, and I'll do it eventually, but I haven't yet. You go ahead and do it. Tell me how it goes. Well, something else I wanted to do was to run a bench test on the iPhone 7 Plus. I'm using Geekbench 3, so let's see what the results are. Wow, that was pretty fast compared to when I did the bench test on the 6S last year. So, for a single core score of 35-25, multi-core score of 60-60. Let's look at multi-core. So my device versus say the iPad Pro running the Apple A9X at 2.24 gigahertz, mine is 660 versus 5466. Now, I have an iPad Mini 4 as well. Look at that. iPad Mini 4, the Apple A8 at 1.29 gigahertz, 3039 versus 6060. Wow. Wow. Oh, and look, here's my old phone. Well, I have both of these, but I used more exclusively the iPhone 6, the Apple A8 at 1.40 gigahertz, 2,886 versus 6,060. Oh my goodness. So we got a lot of comparisons here. Could go back to like the very, oh, it doesn't even go back to the very beginning. 4S, 405 Apple A5 at 800 megahertz versus 2.33 gigahertz, 6060. Whew! This thing is on fire! So thus far, I have really liked having an iPhone 7 Plus. I was definitely concerned that this would be too big, that I was maybe a little over-ambitious in getting the Plus just because I felt like the 6 was a good size for my hand, it fit in my pocket, slid into most of the compartments on my purse, and I thought, man, you may end up wishing you hadn't gotten a bigger phone. So far, I have loved having this bigger size. It's kind of hard to remember what it was like before, and it's great. It's not too big. It's bigger. I noticed that I use two hands more often than not when texting or surfing around on it, but you can definitely do it one-handed. It's cool too that not only are all of your apps and everything, you know, visible vertically, but things can also flip horizontally. I had forgotten that that was an aspect of the Plus on a previous model, but it's cool to have that. It's like my iPad in that way. The sound quality is terrific. I would play something for you, but I feel like the sound quality transmitted through this, it wouldn't be the same effect as hearing it in person. I do usually pair it up with my Bose Bluetooth speaker. You may have noticed too during the video that I do have a screen protector on. I believe in screen protectors. This is a Zag Invisible Shield. It's case friendly, and I have used Zag on every device so far because you drop stuff, and when you pay over $500, you don't want it to shatter when you drop it on the ground, like say on gravel in your driveway. So I do have a screen protector on it. I know that they make them tough for people who drop them, but I see enough shattered screens that I carry this thing in a case and I do a screen protector on it, but still looks gorgeous. And I'm loving that I went with rose gold. It's the first time that I've ever branched out and gotten something besides space gray, back when it was gray and not, you know, kind of black. I'm glad I went with the pink, and I do have a pink case to go with it. And it's fun. It's so much faster than my 6, and you don't think about it. You just get used to what you're used to, and so it's just a treat to get something new and to get to play with it and to see how much faster it does what you want it to do. So, price-wise, if you're thinking of going with a 7 Plus over a 7, or maybe you have a 6 and you just want to get a 6S, you're going to pay a lot more for this model. Granted, you do get some other things, the main thing being the second camera. So I hope you enjoyed this video, my review of the iPhone 7 Plus. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and let me know if you liked this video with a thumbs up or a comment, and as always, stay tuned for more videos.